Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. This is the first time I've spoken today and I sound really weird. I am currently ill. Most of you are probably sat there thinking, wow, she has lost it so much in her illness that she's sat here in a Snow White costume. Well, you're half correct. Look how amazing this costume is. Came with a little headband and the choker. Smithy's actually sent me this so I could wear this for this video, which I find so adorable. I use Smithy's anyway if there's ever a fancy dress party or anything that needs fancy dress. I have a literal cupboard, not even a word of a lie, here of fancy dress items. 80% of them are from Smithy's, the other % are stuff I've made. So they have a really huge range if you want to go check them out, but I will leave a link down there and have a look yourself. A lot of you might be wondering though, why are you sat in a Snow White costume? Well, do you know what? Sometimes I wonder the same thing. I'm actually kind of ironically wearing this right now. It has just been Valentine's Day. I'm aware that a lot of you guys who hate Valentine's Day are glad it's over and I'm bringing it up again, I'm sorry. Valentine's Day is a day where all the people in relationships get the spotlight for the day and they get to celebrate their love, put their soppy shit all over the place, but I feel like I should have a wand. Bippity boppity boom. That's the wrong fairy tale. So what you need to remember is that usually things just look a lot cheerful and happier on the internet. Life isn't actually like a fairy tale. Life isn't actually about marrying someone and finding the perfect someone and then having your happily ever after ending. No way, no zay. It is not like that at all. So I set foot on the internet to ask you guys if you had any questions to do with love and relationships. Originally I wanted to move that limelight into the people who needed help by doing a Q&A. A lot of the questions I got sent on my Facebook and Twitter were along these lines, and when I say these lines I mean people who are dealing with pathetic pricks, got bored of you, left you, or just completely made a twat out of you, and you're struggling. You didn't really intend to do life without this person and now you are, and that's really shit. I came out of a relationship which probably isn't as bad as some of the people who came to me and said, can you give me advice on this? It wasn't a horrendous situation, but I responded to it quite horrendously. It really just tore me to pieces and I didn't know what I was doing, and really I did all the things you shouldn't do. That makes me feel like I am in the position to tell you guys what you should do. There are two main reasons why you are not moving on if you're wondering why you're not, and it's either A, you don't know how, or B, you don't really want to. And although you might say out loud, I do want to move on, a big part of you probably doesn't, and you know it really, you just hide it. That might be hard to admit. I didn't admit it for a year or so. It is a huge part of it, and that usually comes down to acceptance and accepting the fact that it's over and completely done with, because I didn't really accept it was over until probably a year down the line. So I would look at this person's Facebook so much and I would just obsess over it a lot of the time, and as time went on I did it a lot less. I was doing it a lot. I wasn't accepting the fact that it was over, and I was just constantly trying to think of ways that I could talk to them or find out what they're doing, and then maybe I could bump into them, or maybe I could find out what they're into at the moment, and I would be so obsessive over it that I would just isolate myself into this world of obsession. And I sound so creepy, but I feel like a lot of people do this, they just don't admit it. I'm just the person who would sit in front of a camera and admit it. I would sit on my phone or my laptop, look up ways to get your ex-boyfriend back. There would be these, I'm not even joking you, there would be these actual programs you have to pay for to get over your ex. I never did that, of course, not that naive, but there would actually be these people who are feeding off heartbroken people who are desperate to give them your money, just give you these facts, which are facts you could get from friends, really. They just call it secret way to get your ex back. And really, this video could do the same free of charge. So that's a big part of it, but I feel like the reason why it took me a lot harder to accept was because I wasn't really sure of why we broke up in the first place. I'm not gonna like state the exact words he used, but he kind of just said that, you know, the relationship's done now, it's run its course, it finished, and he doesn't see any point moving on anymore. That really fucking confused me, because I was just like, what? Like, okay, this is random, out of the blue, strange. I keep looking at myself in the viewfinder and I'm like, I'm sat here in a Snow White costume discussing one of the most top 3 saddest parts of my life. I would ask you, if you're really struggling to accept the fact it's over, I would actually encourage you to talk to your ex and just ask them if you ever see you two getting back together again, because I did this and they were like, maybe in the future. Obviously now I would not set foot anywhere near them. That really messed up with my head, because I was kind of like, How do I just wait here for you? Like, what's going on? So that's really important to do. And if they say maybe in the future, really, that's a bit of a jerky thing to say to someone, especially if they're not actually sure. If somebody has the cheek to say that to you, then really you deserve so much better than this person who is expecting you to wait on the line for them and just, you know, give up these years of your life that you don't have many of to wait around for them. Who the hell do they think they are? This person at the moment is just really high up on a pedestal. Right now I put my ex-boyfriend on a pedestal which was way higher than he deserved, and that made me think that this was the only thing that I wanted and I would do whatever this king told me. That was a really toxic part of getting over someone. He was not special, he was not amazing, and I am 10 times more amazing than this person. My second tip, which is absolutely vital and was one of the main reasons why it took me so long to get over someone, is to distance yourself. And I'm saying this from the bottom of my heart. If you don't do this, you will not get over them unless you remove them from your life. This person I'm talking about is friends with a lot of my friends. We have a big friendship group and he's always poking his little head in every now and again. If my friends were actually friends in that friendship group and they would still see me without me having to go see everybody, then that was enough for me. If I had friends that were willing enough to understand the situation and understand I don't want to see that person's face, then that's all I need. I could make that sacrifice because I finally decided I needed to do it. I mean, at the beginning I was contacting them and we were still like talking, and that was really unhealthy, and we were like, yeah, we could be friends. No, we can't. Yeah, we can still hang out, and then we'd hang out and then the next day I'd regret it, and we'd see each other random occasions and I feel like I'm completely in control and I know what I'm doing, and then I'd get really upset again. It was not healthy and it wasn't helping anyone, but it was just completely tearing me up inside. So I just took the stand and I said this, I need to remove him on every social media I have. He took that quite strange and was like, why are you doing this? And then I think after a while he kind of figured. Go figure, I mean, how dumb do you need to be? I deleted his messages, his text messages, his inbox emails. I deleted his phone number, everything that I could think of that would tempt me to message them. I needed to take a step away from everything about this person and just concentrate on me and my own space, but not in the way that I did, which was in my room. I didn't socialise at all for about a year, but I'll get back to that bit in a minute. The next step is to quit talking about said person. This is quite strange for me to give as advice because I never really did speak about them with anyone. I kept it all in here, and that was also toxic because I never shared my feelings with anyone. So my advice is to let it out at the beginning. You've just come out of a relationship, people are going to expect you to talk about it and they're going to expect you to ask for advice, and then when all is out and nothing else can be shared, the time has come where no new memories are going to be made between you two. You want to move on, you need to just quit talking about them because they need to not exist in your life anymore. Something which I recently stand by, which I didn't actually stand by at this point in time where I'd been broken up with, was that everything really does happen for a reason in some sense. Really, when it boils down to it, what it means is you can take a lesson from everything that happens. Shit is going to happen, great things are going to happen, and both of those things you can learn from them. It's just hard to know what those things are when you're so upset. So this jerk that maybe walked into your life can teach you what kinds of people you need to stop letting into your life. Or maybe you did stuff in that relationship that you feel bad for doing and you can learn from it like that. Maybe this person put you through so much hell that you'll never forgive them for. You are now a stronger person and you've already learned from that inside. You just don't really realise it yet. You are a much stronger person than you were when you first started dating them. The next thing is to put all your energy into something else. This was one of the things that took me out of my rut. This was one of the things that led me into doing the right things for once after a long time of crying. You naturally come out of sadness through doing things that make you happy. Mine was obviously YouTube. I've been doing it for a long time and I put all my effort into making content, being creative, growing a little community of people that wanted to chat to me and wanted me to make more content every day. I did, and I loved it, and I worked so hard on it, and it really helped me, you know, not waste any more time moping about and focus on things that I love, and that made me see myself and find myself a little bit more. The next tip, which I kind of discussed earlier on, is really important, and it is to get yourself out there. Start moving around, do things. Like I said, I spent a lot of time not wanting to do anything or attend anywhere, and once I did start doing things and seeing people and just saying yes to events which didn't even interest me, it was just getting out of the house, that made me realise that there are really cool people out there, and I'm not meeting any of them because I'm sat in my bedroom. You start realising that he's not the only one who's amazing and incredible. Fortunately, I realised, but fortunately, my ex was not an amazing, incredible person. I just saw him as that. He kind of changed a lot in the process of the breakup, and now he's nothing like he was before. So that helped me a lot in the process, because I was kind of like, why am I upset about this person who I would never consider dating now? If he was a brand new person, I don't think we'd get along. I don't think we would get along at all, which is weird because we used to, but people change, and that was a big help for me in a weird way. That being said, you might be thinking, I don't want to meet somebody who's like him because he was an absolute jerk. So you're going to start thinking that everyone you've met are complete tossers and they're all going to be like that. And I promise you this at the bottom of my heart, I don't care how amazing or how of a shitty ex your ex was, but there will be someone who is so much more incredible, but you're not going to meet them if you're not doing anything, or if you're going places you love. If you're doing the things you love, the people who will love you for the way you are will approach you, which is very true, because I met my boyfriend, who is absolutely incredible, when I was doing what I loved, and that was YouTube. Next up, I'm going to be talking about things that you need to consider if you are trying to get back on the scene and start dating again. Some ways being a little bit confused about why you're not able to, and I think a big part of this is because you don't actually know if you're over your ex or not. This does take time. Time equals healing. You need to consider, if you looked at a picture of your ex, go do it right now. Do you get weird feelings? Does your heart drop? Can you talk about them without feeling funny or angry? If you sit and have a conversation about them with a friend, how do you approach the conversation? Are you quite angry the way you're talking about them, or bitter? But if you can talk about them without being passionate about anything, you're probably in a good place. Do you respond to a song which you used to relate to in like quite a sensitive way? That's another big sign. A good one that my friend once told me is, if you received 2 phone calls at the same time, for some reason that happens. One was your ex and they were asking if they wanted to hang out, and one was a random guy who you know from a friend who also wants to hang out. Would you say yes to your ex or the randomer? Be honest with yourself, and this will give you a huge answer. And a really, you know, obvious one is, picture your ex with a new girlfriend. Do you feel funny? Do you feel weird? So those are the big key things to think about, because you may just not be over your ex, and that's why you're finding it hard to be in the new relationship that you're in. Once I said time will heal, keep in mind the facts I told you before on getting over them, and follow those, and I feel like you will in time be over them, I promise. Lastly, for the people who are having, in my eyes, what is a kind of a different situation, and it's more healing. You might be over them and you might accept it, but you're kind of scarred inside, and it's down to not being able to trust someone else and not being able to put your life into a new person who could tear it up again. And that would suck to deal with, so I would like to give you some help too if you're listening. Number 1, regardless, know that your love for that person at that point in time was real. You felt it, you went with it, even though you might regret it. I don't encourage you to regret things, because like I said earlier, you've learned something from that person, no matter how much of a prick they were. You went with your heart, and that's something to be really proud of, because you trusted yourself. And although it's turned out not to be a good thing, you know that you have a lot of faith in yourself. Number 2, understand that love is always a gift. Like I said, it could be just gift wrapped in a very mysterious way. So the reason why this person came into your life may not be obvious from the get-go, I truly believe that they gave you something to learn from. You can learn what not to do again, or what you don't like, or what you do like, or you can learn a bit more about how you are as a person in a relationship. The next tip would be to release feelings of anger, hatred, and thoughts of revenge. All those things are related to ego and can cause way more harm than good. Anger can cause anxiety and depression, which will definitely stop you from moving forward. You need to kind of just accept and learn to release. The next tip is another quote, and it's never allow someone to be your priority while allowing yourself to be their option. And that goes with what I said earlier on. Care enough for yourself so you can reserve all that energy for someone who actually deserves it. My next tip would be, if you're struggling with trusting someone new, to talk about it, because if you do keep it all locked up inside, they may just think you're being this paranoid person for absolutely no reason. So express yourself, whether it is to your current boyfriend or your mum, your friend, whoever can help and listen. My next tip would be, know that you're lovable. I think one of the biggest things and saddest things that people do when they come out of a relationship is think they didn't love me and no one else will, so obviously I'm just not a lovable person. No, some people aren't good enough at giving you the love you deserve, and that's their issue, not yours. You are absolutely perfect in every way, shape and form. And my very last tip is me basically sitting here and telling you that it will pass, and I promise you, all you need to do, really look after yourself and eat good, because eating shit will make you feel shit. Please learn to accept love. I found it really hard to accept love again because I felt like it was just going to be a big waste, but accept it in all shapes and forms. I'm talking parents, animals, friends, boyfriends. Accept it. It can feel a bit weird in the first process. It doesn't matter if you're responding to it quite strangely, as long as you accept it. You will start learning that this person is being genuine, because hopefully this person will start proving it more to you, as well as just saying things to you that you are finding hard to accept. They'll start doing things, and actions are, I think, a bigger proof you can do this again, and you will take a big leap of faith and take that risk, because life is way too freaking short. Don't dump yourself in an area that feels really worthless and stupid, because you do not belong there. You are fabulous. If I can get through it, and I'm someone who's very emotional and sensitive and took ages to do it, you can do it too. That is all from me for today. I've been talking forever. This video is very long. Probably no one watched it. I love you guys so much. Don't forget to choose happiness, and happiness will choose you. All my social networking sites are down there in my cleavage in the description box below. I love you. Oh my god, it's great for hitting things with.